You go.
Okay, I'm going to throw a bowl now. This is about 1.5 pounds. I'm going to make two styles of bowls. The first bowl is going to be a bowl that comes up something like this. The second bowl will be a bowl that's laid out a little more like this. Okay. Now we approach the bowl the same way we did the cylinder. So we start with a clay ball. Remember, we want to center by pushing the mass of the clay toward the center. Relax every time you move the clay, and then you pull away. You also want to be sensitive to drag, so you want to make sure there's water on the clay ball, water on your hands. We're going to spin it, and we want it spinning kind of fast at the beginning. So we want to push the mass of the clay towards the center. Relax, and then pull away. Now I'm going to come down on it at about a 45-degree angle. Relax, and then pull away. I'm going to do it again. Relax, pull away. Relax, pull away. I'm going to push it down a little bit more just to get a little flatter top. Relax and pull away. Okay. Now we want to open the clay ball up. Let your fingers find the center, put a little dent in it. We want to go down to about 1/4 inch from the bottom. Relax, pull away. Now I want to open it up a little. I'm going to pull toward me at about 5 o'clock. If this is 12 o'clock, I'm working at about 5 o'clock. Okay, I want to sponge the excess water out of the bottom. Put a little bit of swirl down here. Now the same thing, I'm going to use the claw method, and I'm just going to throw the shape. I want to throw whatever my hands do in the air. I want the clay to follow in real life. Wet the clay. I'm going to squeeze it until the clay starts to move first. Once the clay moves, then I just kind of follow that clay to the shape that I want it to be. Alright? Now I'm going to switch techniques, fingertip to fingertip. We're concentrating the pressure so that the clay sees a lot of pressure and responds. And I want to get right here on the bottom, push real hard. Once the clay starts to move, then my hands kind of follow the clay up the walls of the bowl here. Let's do that again. And now I'm going to turn out the lip a little bit. Now we can go to a rib and kind of make this a little more uniform. We use this metal rib again. Make sure this edge is nice and clean. Press the rib on the inside. And we'll lay out this top part here a little bit. I can use the web of my finger against the end of the clay to kind of round it. So we want this to be nice and rounded. And you can even embellish your bowl a little bit with some fingernail lines, if you want. I like to do that. Okay. Now we're ready to lift the bowl. I'm going to undercut it a little bit with my wooden knife. a little water here on the wheel, because the last pot stuck a little bit when I lifted it. So when the clay is kind of soft, sometimes it's good just to put a little water there and then cut it. And the clay, it actually moves around. See how it gets under that water? I'm going to cut it again. And then we can lift it with pot lifters. Turn and then lift. Alright, I'm going to throw a vase form next. So we've learned how to throw a straight-sided cylinder. We've learned how to throw the shape of a bowl. Now we're going to kind of work in that vein, and we're going to add a few more tools. This is about 2 pounds of clay. Oh no, this is a 3 pound. I want the 2 pound. Sorry. Thank you. This is 2 pounds of clay. And we're going to throw a vase form. And what we want to do is we want to practice. I want to throw kind of a straight-sided cylinder, and then I want to belly out the cylinder a little bit and practice bringing the top in a little bit, kind of closing it in. So we want to work on these skills. And then we're going to add another tool. We're going to add an extension, and we're going to use the wooden knife to actually belly out the vase a little bit. So we want to learn these skills. We want to, manipulate the shape with these new skills we're going to learn. Okay, same thing. We have to center the clay, wet the clay, wet your hands, push the mass of the clay towards the center, relax, pull away, squash the clay down, relax, pull away. Squash it again. Relax. Pull away. We'll do it one more time. Push it up. Push it down. Relax. Pull away. Alright, let's flatten this top a little bit. Relax. Pull away. I'm going to get rid of some of the clay that's on my hands. So I'm going to put a little dimple right here. Might have an air bubble, but we'll work with that. We're going to go straight down, about 1/4 of an inch. We'll stop, and then we're going to open up the bottom. Okay, this is the time to sponge out any water and to work on the bottom a little bit. Okay, now we're going to kind of throw a little bit of a bellied cylinder here. Use the claw method. Squeeze until the clay starts to move. Don't move before the clay moves. Don't throw off the top. Stop before you get to the top. So I want to sponge everything out, wet the sides. Fingertip to fingertip now. I use the sponge. I'll squeeze the sponge just to give me, if I feel the clay start to drag, if I feel my fingers drag, I squeeze the sponge and add a little water to the mix here. Squeeze until the clay starts to move. Then you want to work up the sides here. And we can close this in a little bit. You notice as we close it in, we're just kind of coming in like this, very gradual. Takes a couple steps to close it in. Clay's nice and wet, closes in, and it also thickens up. Now before it gets too closed, I want to use this extension here, and we're going to belly out the pot a little more. And the extension is in places where my fingers can't reach. So you can see I can make a nice rounded kind of vase here, vase or bottle form. Could even do this with a teapot form. I'll use the metal rib to just make this a little more uniform. Okay, we're going to close it in a little bit, and it's thickened up, so I'm going to throw this clay. Since it's a little thicker here, since we've closed it in, I can kind of throw it and thin it out a little more and get a little height here at the lip. So I'm going to do that a couple times. Fingertip to fingertip. Let's close it in a little bit. So we'll make a little bottle form out of this. I'll add little fingernail marks. Alright, I'm ready to take it off. I'm going to undercut the pot a little bit. Add a little water. Cut that and get the pot lifters, which are right over here. Push in, turn, and lift. Okay. I'm going to put a bat on the wheel.
For the next video, right?
Okay.
Okay. So in the next video you're going to...
Okay, in the next video I'm going to put a bat on the wheel and I'm going to throw a 3-pound bowl, which is a bowl that's laid out a little more. We've thrown a bowl that's kind of shallow, so I want to show you how to throw a laid out bowl. And then hopefully we'll have time to trim all these pieces. Okay? All right.